So in this lecture, we're going to try and motivate the problem of recommender systems as an important data product, which we'll keep developing later on. And we'll describe several examples of recommender systems on the web. Okay, so what is recommendation and why don't we do it? Well, recommender systems are very common. We're using them all the time whenever we get recommended content by services on the web. So a classic example of what a recommender system might be doing is to help us discover new content. And this is an example from Amazon, some recommendations on instant video for me on the basis of a movie I have watched previously. These movies are somehow similar, or they're movies I'm likely to rate highly if I enjoyed the previous movie. Maybe you can try and guess what that is. Another set of example of a recommender systems would be the following, again from Amazon. In this case, I'm watching Harry Potter 1, and it says you might like Harry Potter 2, Harry Potter 3, Harry Potter 4, Harry Potter 5, Harry Potter 6, Harry Potter 7 Part 2, Harry Potter 7 Part 3. You get the idea. So, well, are these good or bad recommendations? It's maybe not so obvious. They're not really helping me to discover new content. Rather, this recommender system would be helping me to identify content I probably already know about, and it's just surfacing it to a more relevant or to a more prominent part of the user interface, which could also be useful. So it's just helping us find or helping us access content that we were already looking for. Recommender systems could also help us to discover just which things go together. This is an example again from Amazon of people who bought X also bought Y. So you're looking at some pair of jeans and it says you might like this shirt. Somehow it thinks those items go together or be mutually compatible, perhaps on the basis of people who had co-purchased both items. A recommender system should also try and personalize user experiences in response to user feedback. This is an example from a streaming music service where you can click thumbs up or thumbs down on a particular track, or you can skip the track. And based on what you do, the future tracks that are surfaced should be personalized to better match your preferences. So if you click thumbs up, maybe you'll get more tracks that are similar to this one. If you click thumbs down, maybe you'll get tracks that are somehow different. Also, the advertisement that's recommended here is really the output of a recommender system, and it's somehow recommending a product that is contextually relevant to the music you are listening to. This is another example of a recommender system from Netflix. In this case, they're just trying to surface their estimate of how I would rate a movie. I think this feature is no longer active on Netflix, but all it was doing is trying to estimate in a personalized way, what would I rate this movie? The important thing to notice here is this rating of 3.6 stars is not like the global average rating for Mad Max. Rather, it's saying, how would I rate this movie? And that could help me to know whether this movie is good for my personal interests, or it could just give me additional contextual information that says, this is how you'll rate this movie. Maybe tonight I just happen to be in the mood for a movie that I would rate 3.6 stars. Okay, outside of things like e-commerce, like the previous examples I've shown, which are maybe the most obvious, we see recommender systems all the time. For example, in priority inbox, which ranks emails according to whether I'm likely to respond to them. Broadly speaking, that's an example of a recommender system. Or in things like personalized health, if I'd like to estimate how an individual might respond to a specific regime of treatment. Or things like friend recommendation on Facebook, the people you may know feature, is really an example of a recommender system. It's not recommending things to people, it's recommending people to other people. So whenever we're trying to estimate this personalized reaction of an individual to some stimulus or item or some product, broadly speaking, that's an example of recommendation technology being applied. Okay, so there are all these different notions of recommender systems: content discovery, building better user interfaces, finding things that go together, personalizing experiences, or just estimating what we like. Really, recommender systems are just using machine learning to build models of people's preferences, opinions, and behavior. Okay, so in this lecture, all we've really done is to describe some of the most common use cases of recommender systems that we might observe on the web to try and motivate the importance of this problem as a data product that's worthy of study.